Well, this right here, this is my Xbox Series S, and I've had this for a full calendar year now. And I was one of those guys where it's just like, I'm gonna buy into the hype. Everyone wants the Xbox Series X, you know, the Xbox Series S. Not so bad, you're saving money by purchasing the S over the X, but do I really need it? And then the answer was like, well, I don't really need it, but I wouldn't mind having one. And now that I have one, I'm here to say, I've used this probably more than all of my other game systems combined in the last year. And we'll talk about it. So we are 1 year later, and I can't tell you how happy I am with the purchase of my Xbox Series S. Now before, I've had the Xbox when it first came out. The first Xbox, I picked up that along with Halo, along with some Shrek game, and it was cool. You know, it was all right, but after I played those games, I didn't really use it much after that. I think I picked up another game afterwards, and I was just like, like all the games I really want for the Xbox are also already on the PlayStation at the time. It was PlayStation 2, and I always played my PlayStation 2, so it's like, well, I mean, Xbox is great, but you know, the controller's a little clunky for me. PlayStation's already optimized. I'll just figure out with the PlayStation 2. I ended up trading my Xbox to Game Crazy for the new Game Boy Advance SP. Friends of mine laughed at that trade. I still have that Game Boy Advance SP. It still works, and I still use it. Then later on, we had the Xbox 360, which again, I remember when it came out, that was the hype. That was the first time the Xbox 360, when I noticed people were buying multiple consoles just to sell them on eBay. I was like, that's a lot of hassle for like an extra $100 or $200, whatever they're getting for it. It was probably more than, it had to have been more than that for them to be worth the time. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't really need one. I mean, because it's like, it's fine. I mean, PlayStation 3 is coming out soon. I'm good for now. And I'm glad, and I'm not that I'm glad, but I'm okay that I didn't pick up an Xbox 360 at launch. I heard a lot of people getting their red ring of death and all that. The fact that the controller, you had to use batteries. It wasn't like wireless. It wasn't, I mean, it was wireless, but it wasn't like you couldn't charge them without a battery charger. Of course, they had like charging docks, so you figure that out later. But at the time, I didn't really need it. And I did end up getting an Xbox 360 when Kinect came out, because that's when my kids were toddlers, and it was like, hey, we can put you in the video game. And that was pretty fun. From there, I picked up a couple of games, but not really. It was just there too. Because by the time Kinect came out, I was already into like PlayStation 3 and other stuff too. So it's like, yeah, it's fine for what it is. Then later on, we had the Xbox One, which I wanted just for Rare Replay. I was thinking about it, I was like, if I just bought those games separately, it would cost about the price of an Xbox One. And I knew PlayStation 4 was coming out soon, so I waited on the Xbox One. Fortunately, about 6 months after launch, maybe a year after launch, a friend of mine got one, didn't care for it. We worked out a trade. I traded him some stuff that he really wanted. In return, I got the Xbox One. I loved the fact that I had an Xbox One, however, when Cuphead came out, when Thimbleweed Park came out, because there was a couple of them that were at least timed exclusives for the Xbox. And it was nice because I would also get review codes for games for this channel. And they'd say, hey, it's also available on Xbox One. Perfect, I can check it out from there and do the video, do the review on that. And it was near before this came out, about 6 months before this came out, somebody gifted me Game Pass. Now along the way, for the last year or so before this came out, I've heard of Game Pass. And I was like, oh yeah, I have PlayStation Plus. That's pretty similar, right? And they're like, no. PlayStation Plus, you get like 2 or 3 games a month. Game Pass, you have a full library of games that you can choose from, including a lot of games that come out right when the game comes out. You're not playing older games that have already made their money from 2 years ago. You're playing good stuff immediately. So I was like, you know what? Somebody gifted me a few months on Game Pass, and thank you so much. And I held on to that for about 6 months until this came out, because like, hey, you know what? As soon as Xbox Series X comes out, I'm just gonna get that. I'm gonna load up my Game Pass, and then I'll be good to go. That's all I'll need, and then I'll experiment from there. And because I'm on social media all day at work, I was there when it was announced. It's available right now. You gotta get it right now. You gotta jump in and grab your Xbox Series X. You gotta grab your Xbox Series S, whatever your preference is. It's go time, let's go. And I saw the Xbox Series X, and I was like, oh, it's a couple $100 bucks. And I was thinking about my Xbox One. And I was like, you know, most of the games I have on it are digital. I'll just download them. I'm not a huge physical collector. I mean, I understand the reason for the physical discs, because that way you can also sell them later. You can purchase them used, save some money that way. And oftentimes though, for me too, and this is me personally, and I know it's a terrible thing, but if the game's already out for like a year or two, I'm already like, it's already out. I don't need to play it anymore. I'll play something new when it comes out. Which is totally not right? Because there's so many great games I've missed out on that I could go back and play right now. I just haven't, because there's always something else coming out. Or I end up just playing the same games I already played that came out during that time anyway, right? So as it turns out, I grabbed the Xbox Series S because I just figure I'm going to be playing the digital games anyway, especially with Game Pass available. And with Game Pass, I've used this way more than any of my other game systems, probably all of them combined. I use my Nintendo Switch almost exclusively when I'm traveling. I love my Oculus Quest 2, but I only play that for a little bit every night. You know, if I can, you know, like half an hour or something like that. My PlayStation 5, it's great, but just there hasn't really been any like PlayStation 5 exclusives that got me super excited this past year. Guardians of the Galaxy, and trust me, I'm looking forward to like Spider-Man and Wolverine later on. But PlayStation 5 just kind of been, I mean, we still use it for streaming and stuff like that, but it's just been kind of sitting there, you know, waiting for something new to play. And with Game Pass, I don't have to think about it because I already have Game Pass, and all these great new games that are coming out are almost all of them, the ones I want to play, are day one on Game Pass. So I'm not paying extra money to play these great games that are coming out. It's already included with Game Pass. That's the best part about it. So I'm already saving way so much money, a ton of money, with my Xbox Series S when I have Game Pass, because all the games I want to play are already right there. And so many more games I would have never have played. I love indie games. I check them out whenever I can. And there's so many great indie games through Game Pass that maybe I wouldn't have checked out. It's like, it looks pretty cool, but 20 bucks for a digital game, which trust me, I don't mind paying, but sometimes it's like, it has to be a game I really want to play. I have a little bit of a hard time paying $20 for a game I may or may not like. Chances are I like most of them. But there's been a few of them, I'm not gonna call out names, but there's been a few of them, I've downloaded them, checked them out for a few seconds and said, okay, I get it, not for me, but okay, then I just delete it and download something else. Including the entire library, not the entire library, but including like all the other games that they have, like on Xbox, like Crimson Skies, you know, Xbox 360, Xbox One, you know. There's been a ton of great games, and all the new games that are still coming out for this, man. I'm so glad I picked up an Xbox Series S. I wouldn't have minded the X. And you know what? Maybe later on down the line, this one does me really well. When I play it for a little while though, especially if I'm streaming it on Twitch, this part gets really warm. Really warm. I could probably bake cookies on it. But inevitably, maybe the end of next year, there might be like the Xbox Series X Slim or something like that for a little bit cheaper and a little bit like, you know, with updated, you know, anti-cooling, maybe. I have no idea. I have no idea. When that comes out, then yeah, then maybe I'll grab one of those for myself. In the meantime, this is the one to get. This is my favorite. I am, you know, and this is me along the way too, where I was always into PlayStation, and then Xbox was always the other console. To me now, it's flip-flopped. I'm all about the Xbox. I love my PlayStation. I love my PlayStation 5. And trust me, when PlayStation VR 2 comes out, optimized for the PlayStation 5, it'll be game over from there. But in the meantime, this is the one to get as far as I'm concerned. I had it for a year, 365 days. I use it regularly, not every day. You know, I gotta be honest with you, it's not like I can play video games every day. I got 3 kids, I got a full-time job. But it's nice because this is always waiting for me, and there's always new games available anytime I turn it on. It's like, oh, I wanna check that out. No, I didn't even know about that game coming out. I'll check that out too. I love this thing. I really do. What about you? You feel the same way? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. There's always new videos coming out soon. You are so awesome. Did you know that? I think you're terrific. We'll see you next time. It's gonna be really soon, I promise.